Okay. This is People of the State of Michigan versus McKeel Brown, docket number 20-179FH. Mr. Brown, I have your address on Shreve Street in Lansing. Is that still current?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. And are you working right now or not?
I'm focused on getting a job.
I'm sorry?
I said I'm focused on getting a job right now.
Okay. I'm going to need you to speak up a little more. I think you might be farther away from the microphone and it's hard to hear you for me anyway.
Yeah.
How far did you go in school?
I'm still enrolled into school to get my GED.
Okay. Okay. Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm the testimony you're about to give in this matter will be the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Mr. Brown, you have the right to be represented by an attorney. You are represented by Mr. Petrovich, who's there with you today. And Mr. Petrovich, which count or counts is he pleading to?
I believe Mr. Brown is going to be pleading to count 1.
Okay, and you'll waive reading of count 2?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Allen, would you read count 1, please?
State of Michigan, County of Ingham. In the name of the people of the state of Michigan, the prosecuting attorney for this county appears before the court and informs the court that on or about January 7th, 2020, at 2211 South Cedar Street, City of Lansing, Ingham County, the defendant did in count 1 carry a dangerous weapon, to wit, a revolver, concealed on or about his or her person, contrary to Michigan law. This is a felony punishable by up to 5 years or $2,500. Mandatory forfeiture of weapon or device, and was committed against the peace and dignity of the state of Michigan.
Mr. Brown, you're being charged here with what's known as carrying a concealed weapon. That is a felony punishable by up to 5 years in prison. Have you had enough time to talk about this charge with your attorney?
Yes, ma'am.
And do you understand the charge against you?
Yes.
Do you have any questions about what we're doing?
No, Your Honor.
And how would you like to plead?
Guilty.
If your plea of guilty is accepted by this court, it means you won't have a trial of any kind, and you'll be giving up the rights that go along with a trial. I'm going to go through those for you. You'll be giving up the right to a trial by jury, and if you didn't want trial by jury, trial by judge. You'll be giving up the right to be presumed innocent until proven guilty, and to require the prosecutor to prove your guilt beyond a reasonable doubt. You'll be giving up the right to have the witnesses against you appear at the trial and to be able to cross-examine them, and also the right to have this court order any witnesses that you might have for your defense to appear at the trial. You'll also be giving up your right to remain silent at the trial and not to have your silence used against you, or alternatively, the right to testify yourself at the trial if you wanted to. There's also some issues about appellate rights that you'll be giving up. One is you don't get an automatic right to go to the higher court on appeal if you plead guilty. Instead, you have to ask them to hear your case, and they have to agree to hear it. And second, there are many, many issues that you cannot even raise on appeal when you plead guilty, which is different than when you go to trial and you can raise a lot of different issues. So you understand those rights?
Yes, Your Honor.
And if I accept your plea, it means that you can't come back later on and say that the plea was the result of some promise or threat that nobody told me about today. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Also, if I accept your plea, it means you can't come back later on and try to say that it really wasn't your own choice to plead guilty today. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Is there a plea agreement, Ms. Allen?
Yes, Your Honor. In exchange for the defendant's successful plea and sentence to count 1, the people agreed to dismiss count 2. We also have no objection to him receiving treatment under the Holmes Youthful Trainee Act. There's also a sentence agreement pursuant to People versus Killebrew that he received no upfront jail.
And Mr. Petrovich, is that a full and complete statement?
Yes, Your Honor.
Mr. Brown, you heard all that. Is that your understanding of the agreement?
Yes.
And do you agree with it?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, there is an agreement about your sentence, there's a couple of agreements, but one about your sentence is that you would get no upfront jail. If for some reason I decided not to go along with that, I would tell you before I sentenced you, and I would give you a chance, if you wanted to take back this plea and start all over. You understand all that?
Yes.
Has anyone promised you anything else in order to get you to plead guilty that hasn't been said right now?
No.
Has anyone used any threats to get you to plead guilty?
No, ma'am.
Is it your own choice to do this?
Yes, Your Honor.
And are you pleading guilty because you believe you are in fact guilty of this offense?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, I'm gonna need you to speak up loud and clear because we are recording, and tell me what you did on or about January 7, 2020.
I carried a pistol and got caught with it inside of my car.
You said you had a pistol where?
In my pocket.
In your pocket. So it was concealed in your pocket,
Yes, ma'am.
and you knew that it was there.
Yes, ma'am.
And you had this pistol concealed in your pocket in the area of 2211 South Cedar Street in Lansing, Ingham County? Is that
Yes.
correct? Okay. Has the court complied with MCR 6.302, Mr. Petrovich?
Yes, Your Honor.
Ms. Allen?
Yes, Your Honor.
Are you aware of any promises, threats, or inducements other than those already placed on the record, Mr. Petrovich?
No, Your Honor.
Ms. Allen?
No, Your Honor.
Okay, the court finds the plea is understandingly and voluntarily made without undue influence, threats, or promises of leniency. It is an accurate plea. It's supported by the testimony. The plea is accepted. And Mr. Petrovich, would you be able to make a sentencing on June 29th at 3:15?
I believe that fit my schedule. Yes. Yes, that works.
Yes, Ms.?
Our schedule.
Okay, so I'm gonna set it on June 29th at 3:15. This is a sentencing that would be very easy to do on Zoom, I think, but the defendant doesn't have to agree to that. So Mr. Petrovich, we have some time here. If you would just let us know if your client would consent to a remote sentencing instead of being here in person, then we will set it up that way. Otherwise, if he doesn't want that, then he'd have to be present in the courtroom. But either way, if you would just let us know when you've had a chance to consult with him on that, okay?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay, Mr. Brown, your bond is continued, and sometime between now and that sentencing date, you're going to get a very important contact from the probation department. It's very important because they need to interview you for the report that I will use for sentencing, so just be aware that they'll be contacting you. And do you have any questions?
No, Your Honor.
I would add, do they have your updated phone number with pretrial services?
Oh, yes.
Oh, wait, no,
Yes.
no, they actually contacted you. Sorry, Your Honor. So,
That's okay, you're all set?
yes, Your Honor.
Okay, that'll conclude our hearing then, thank you.